Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and the time has come for me to tell you my top 40 for the Eurovision Song Contest 2022. These are my personal rankings of all the songs, and I'm going to be going through each one with you from 40 to number 1 and give you reasons as to why that's in that certain place. But please let me know down below in the comments what your top 40 is, or your top 10. I'm really interested to see, because I think the beauty of the contest is that everyone has their own personal music tastes, and ranking the songs in different orders and seeing why other people prefer songs that you don't like is really interesting. So a little disclaimer before I start: these are my personal opinions, obviously, and if I've put a song in a place that you don't agree with, that's not because I think your music taste is bad or mine is superior. It's more, this is just how I feel, but let me know how you feel, of course. And this is no hate on the artist or the country in question, so it's just a personal taste thing. So let's get straight into this. I'm going to be as quick as possible through each one, but if you want to see a detailed breakdown of all my reviews, you can check out the playlist on my channel page. So someone has to come last, and in this case, at number 40 with a score of 4.3 out of 10 is Israel. This is I Am by Michael Ben David. So I want to start off just by saying that I think what disappointed me the most about this is that you can really hear the vocal potential of this guy. He's so good at singing. The runs he has, the passion he has in his singing is really evident. But the thing that kind of put me off the most of this song is the confused genres. It goes through 3 genres. So we start the song by opening with a kind of musical theatre soulful touch, and then it goes into this bop, this kind of club beat, and then it goes into the Mizrahi Jewish middle section, and it's just too many different genres stitched together quite weakly, and it doesn't kind of have this coherence that I would have liked, and it does kind of sound a little bit like other songs we've heard before. And I think the vision they had and what they wanted to achieve with this wasn't quite achieved. And I recommend, if anyone wants to listen to a song in this kind of style but actually it works, listen to Flawless by The Ones or the George Michael remix called Go to the City. Those are really good examples of songs like this that actually work. So unfortunately, Israel is my last place this year, but like I said, I really love his vocals. In number 39 with a score of 4.7 is Malta. This is Emma Muscat with I Am What I Am. Unfortunately, when listening back to this a couple more times, I just couldn't get into it anymore, and it slipped further and further down my ranking. I love Emma Muscat as an artist. I've been following her for a few years, and I think she's got so much potential, but this song doesn't really showcase that. It doesn't contain her personal flair or her artistic stamp. It kind of misses that, and it feels like a song was written for some other artist and then handed to her, which she's had to adapt. So this song has very basic chords that repeat in a kind of generic pattern, which is not my cup of tea as a musician, and it doesn't quite help the song to kind of develop either, because the chords just repeat and repeat. But there is nice moments in the piano line which are okay. There's a bit of energy in there, and they sort of showcase a bit of Emma Muscat's personal style when it comes to the piano, because she's actually a really good pianist. But this song just doesn't hit it for me, and I can't score it any higher. Next, at number 38, we've got Germany. This is Malik Harris with Rockstars with a score of 5 out of 10. I like this artist in terms of his versatility as a performer. I think he's really charming and sweet, and he's a multi-instrumentalist, which I enjoy. But again, basic chords in the song, it kind of lacks this thick texture in the backing track. It comes across as a little bit thin, and I feel like the drum machine is a little bit thin too, and it doesn't give the song enough power. And then by the end it sort of feels a little bit like it hasn't gone anywhere, it hasn't evolved, and I can't score it any higher. But I still really like the artistry of this, and I hope it doesn't come in the bottom 5 in the grand final. So next we got at number 37 with a score of 5.2, Bulgaria. This is Intelligent Music Project with Intention. I think what really lets this down for me is that you can tell that there's good quality musicians in this which have just been wasted on a bland track. It's very bland, it lacks power and conviction. It's a rock song, but I don't get blown back in my seat by it, and there's only kind of one standout moment, which is the guitar solo, which absolutely shreds and gives a glimmer of potential into what the song could have been, but it just doesn't go there. It feels very half-baked. There's kind of incoherent musical ideas kind of vaguely stitched together, but verses and choruses don't flow. It just doesn't feel like one single song. It felt like 3 songs were written and then just sliced together like that, and then they said, hey ho, let's go, let's just do this. so I can't score this too high. I was very disappointed in this one because I know Bulgaria in the last couple of years have really built up the quality of their entries, and then it sort of took a step backwards. At number 36, we've got North Macedonia with a score of 5.8. This is Andrea with Circles. This song has such a great opening with the vocal, this contra-alto, deep brooding voice, which really kind of locks in the listener, but it never actually goes any further from there to keep me interested personally. I think there's so much passion in that opening, but then the song just coasts and it doesn't develop, it doesn't evolve, and it doesn't kind of give you anything that's dramatic or kind of unexpected. It just feels very safe. Elements of the production seem unfinished, a little bit dated at times as well. There's this synth noise in the background which feels very out of place. It's almost as if they haven't mixed it in the track, it's just been recorded and then just thrown in there, and they're like, let's see if this works. So it really needed a bit more tweaking. It becomes quite repetitive by the end. It just doesn't have any variation. I know the revamp, they tried a bit of variation in the middle 8, but it just didn't bring any extra elements to the song that really made it go up in my ranking. So next at number 35, Moldova with a score of 5.8 as well. This is Zdobsty Dub and Frati Advahov with Trenashore, which means train. The thing about this is that I love the instrumentation, it's so wonderful. There's playful melodies, this real kind of jovial foot tapping environment in the chorus, but it becomes very repetitive and it does lose a bit of steam in the end. It just doesn't feel like it goes anywhere, like a lot of the songs I've got down at the bottom. The rock revamp did add some interesting variations and it added some kind of new ideas, providing a bit of breathing space and change in the song, but it really didn't kind of bring it any higher than I expected. So I am disappointed at that it's quite low because I absolutely love the live instrumentation and the virtuosity of the performance, but it just wasn't enough for me. Next is Ireland at number 34. This is Brooke with That's Rich. Definitely a step up for Ireland, but I gave it a 5.8. I think it just feels like the production isn't quite there. It's a little loud, and I've heard other people who are musical experts in this field kind of talk about the loudness of the production as well. It doesn't feel like they restrained it at all. Great vocals though, she's got such a unique individual singing style, which I like. It's kind of vocal fry in there. The synths in the chorus are a little bit dated, they kind of fall a bit flat, and they don't kind of fit in with the rest of the track, so there's this bit of a discrepancy there. The overall image and performance feels a little bit dated. In my review I described it as Eurovision 2001 with the backing dancers side by side to Brooke. They need to think about that and how they're going to perform it, because it will fall a bit flat, I think. But the spoken part works in the studio cut, but in the live performance the spoken part in the middle 8 for me didn't work at all. I think it really needed that extra distortion in the microphone and they didn't have it, and I'm worried about this song's chances. But I really admire Brooke's artistry because I think she's got something about her which is really engaging and she seems like she has a fun personality, but the song doesn't match up to that for me. Number 33 is Denmark. This is Ready with The Show with a score of 5.9. So the drummer is definitely the standout of this. Listening back to that song, the drum patterns are so intricate and detailed and they're really advanced as well, but the chords do lack in places. The key change at the end was too much for me. I cannot stand the truck driver's gear change, if anyone knows what that is. It's when in the last chorus the song moves up a key and then it finishes. It felt like they ran out of ideas, and the song also spent too long approaching that rock element that it kind of lost my interest by the time they changed it up. But the vocal performance was also really nice. I thought the rubato she used, so she was playing with the time signature and holding back a little bit at the beginning, was nice, and it plays with the uniqueness of the song and the meaning, so I did like that. But unfortunately the key change really put me off this year. Number 32 is, with a score of 6.2, Australia. This is Sheldon Riley with Not the Same. Fantastic vocals, really showcase his voice very well with raw emotion and has such a fantastic kind of performative quality. But the chorus melody for me was a bit chaotic in terms of it doesn't feel organic, or there's no clear vision as to where the melody was going. It felt like he had a skeleton score and then he was improvising around that to kind of create tension and drama, but to me it just kind of lost me. I didn't know where it was going and it felt chaotic. But other people really like that element of the song, which is interesting as well. I like how people can kind of take two sides to that coin, so it's interesting. I just got a bit lost there. And then after researching the artist itself, the mask element of the song fit more into place for me, and I do appreciate it now. Whilst in my first listen I kind of was a bit confused about that vision, but I do like it now. Number 31 is Romania. This is WRS with Yamame, and I've pronounced it correctly now because in my video I called it Yamame. But I've scored this 6.4. Chill club beat, not too in your face, but the saving moment of the song is the bridge because it provides a bit of variation. There's a nice cowbell instrument in there which kind of changes up the drum pattern as well. The overall package is okay, and I do like the double chorus effect they have too. But overall, I just feel a little underwhelmed with this one. But I still like it. I don't hate this song at all, and I would listen to it again. Number 30 is Croatia with a score of 6.4. Mia Dimsic with Guilty Pleasure. Absolutely pleasant track. It's charming in places with good melodic writing and experimentation. And I really like the use of tonality as well, with the G major and G minor chords in there to kind of play a little bit with the atmosphere. It's really nice. It reminds me a bit of Taylor Swift as well, but I think she does have her own personal flair in this song so that it doesn't sound like too derivative or anything. But the song is a little instrumentally light, which kind of causes it to be a bit meek and not too engaging, and I would have liked a bit more punch in the backing track, maybe some more vocal lines in there, the strings maybe being a bit thicker. I think that would have kind of propelled it forward more, but I still think this is pretty good stuff. Number 29 is San Marino, Achille Lauro with Stripper, with a score of 6.5. It's a very sexy performance with lots of charisma and energy. Vocals are a little shaky in places, I can't lie about that. But it does kind of fit in with the song's aesthetic and the genre and style choice, so I can forgive that because it provides a little bit of character to the performance. And it has actually quite a great chorus. I really do like the chorus, it's catchy. The instrumentation goes really nice hand in hand with the genre and the melody lines. It kind of fits together like a glove for me. But I just think it does hold back a little bit in terms of being a rock song, and it's not as strong as San Marino's entry last year for me. Number 28 is Lithuania, Monica Liu with Sentimentai, 6.5 out of 10 I've given this. Sultry chords and melodic line performed exquisitely. There's really nice low notes, contra alto range again, which is nice, creates a velvety ambience which I enjoy. The synth in the second verse to me doesn't work. It sounds a little dated, it juts out of the track, and I think it kind of brings the song down a little bit. If they got rid of that, I think this would have sounded just sophisticated and lush. So for me, that's what lets it down a little bit. The song also drags slightly by the end, but I think she does save it with her personality. It is performed quite well, and she definitely is a really likeable performer. And then 27 is Latvia, City Jenny with Eat Your Salad, score of 6.6 out of 10. The production value of this, the chords, the instrumentation, the way everything flows, transition segments are almost perfect to me. So professional, really well put together, but the lyrics, I can't take the lyrics of this one. I just find them a little bit jarring, a bit random. I like the message, but I think the euphemisms for me just ruin it. I know some people really enjoy that type of thing in the song, but I can't get behind it. But I really like the musical quality of this. So well done Latvia, because I think they're really showcasing just virtuosity of musicians, and I like that. Next, 26, I've got Iceland. This is Sigabetta and Elin, or Sister, with Med Hakandi Sol, I hope I pronounced that correctly. And this I gave a 6.8 out of 10. Really nice arrangement with the guitars. It creates a somber sound. It's really laid back and chill. The ending is really nice because it ends on the Picardy third, which means that the song basically cadences or comes to an end in the major key instead of the minor key. So it kind of creates this really nice resolution, and it ends a little bit more positive than you would think if it ended in the minor key. There's also kind of madrigal sounds in there to me, Renaissance type of music, because they use the major 7 note in the chorus against a minor backdrop, which is a really interesting technique to use. So it's a little bit like Monteverdi, if anyone knows that composer. Really great stuff. But the song kind of fails to evolve or go anywhere in the end, and I think that's what lets it down. So number 25 is Czech Republic, We Are Demi with Lights Off. I gave that a 6.9 out of 10. It's a good hook in this. The chorus is really catchy. I immediately hooked onto it when I heard it for the first time. It uses a good range for the female vocalist as well, because she starts off with the low notes in the verses and then it climaxes to that high C in the chorus, so it really kind of has a good structure and melody line, and it builds really well. The chord horizon is lacking a bit. It uses 4 chords, but it's actually not noticeable when you listen to it for the first time that the chords don't go anywhere, because there's other elements like the synths and the way the song moves that distract you from that. So that is quite good songwriting for me. Number 24, with a score of 7 out of 10, is the UK. This is Sam Ryder with Spaceman. So this has grown on me over the past few weeks. When I originally listened to it, I didn't quite enjoy it. I thought it was okay. I loved his voice, but the song felt derivative to me. It felt like he was trying to be Elton John or David Bowie. But this has grown on me over the weeks because of those wonderful vocals. They soar in the chorus. It does feel a little bit safe in places, and I think the bridge lets it down. They've got this chromatic movement where the song is moving down. He says something like gravity keeps pulling me down, and that actually drags the song back for me a little bit. But I really like the pictorial way that they wrote it. So Spaceman jumps in the melody, goes Space Man, so actually like the melody is following the lyrics, which is really nice. But it's not bad at all. It really isn't bad at all. I think it's a good effort from the UK, and I hope that we finish in the mid-table or on the left hand side. I think that would be really nice, but I can't kind of put it any higher than this. But I'm still proud of it, and I'm going to get behind Sam in May. I think it's going to be great. Number 23 is Belgium, Jeremy McKees with Miss You, and a score of 7.1 out of 10. This is one of those songs that's very vocal reliant. The vocals are the standout of this. There's lovely flips between falsetto, kind of head voice, and then the chest voice for the belts. That's really nice. It shows good vocal control, and it really showcases his talent, which is great. It's got kind of a Bond-esque opening with the strings, and then the closing part as well has that kind of somberness, and those to me are the best parts. The sandwich filling in the middle with the R&B part loses it for me. I find it lacks in kind of a bass line, and the production feels like it could have done with more gospel vocals there to really just bring out something good. I think overall it's a pretty good package, but I think I preferred their entry last year. Number 22 is Cyprus. This is Anja Marche with Ela, and I gave this 7.4 out of 10. The percussion in this is something you should really pay attention to in the verses. It's got a really nice thick timbre and a nice sound in there. It's been well produced, and it provides a bit of variation to the chorus, that kind of dembal beat they're using, so that really works. The melodic writing to me is amazing. It just uses these nice ornaments in the melodic line to embellish the melody and make it more interesting, but also add that Cypriot flavour, which I love. Yeah, we needed a little bit more chords in there, maybe in the middle 8, to bring the song up a little bit, develop it further. It needed that extra push, but the time frame kind of stopped that from happening. 3 minutes isn't enough to develop the song, so I think they could have cut it back a bit to bring in maybe an extra middle 8 part. But overall, really good package and a nice change up for Cyprus. They usually go for that girly pop bop, and this year they went for something a bit more relaxed, so I'm really pleased with this. And number 21 is Austria, Lumix featuring Pia Maria and Halo, with a score also of 7.4 out of 10. So I think this is a good balance between the retro and the modern vibes to keep the song from sounding dated, because they are going for that type of club sound from the early 2000s and the late 2000s, but also with hints of 80s synth pop. What they do well is that they kind of bring it into the modern time EDM sound to stop it sounding dated, so that really works. The pre-chorus is definitely the highlight of this because it really turns up the energy and it creates this build, but then they absolutely lose that energy in the stomp clap bit in the middle 8. That just completely takes all the energy away, and I think they could have done something else there, but I still think this is really good. And that pre-chorus, "We can be CEOs," that bit is the standout of the song. It's really catchy and really well written, and it has a good rhythmic vibe to it. So at number 20 we've got France. This is Alvan Anahez with Fulen. This is in Breton, and I gave it a 7.4. This is definitely the biggest grow for me because I saw the live performance first and I felt slightly let down, but then I heard the studio cut, which is far superior. So there's nice experimentation elements with scales, instruments and vocal techniques, which I love. I love experimental things at Eurovision. The male and female vocals struggled to blend live a little bit, which I feel lets it down. There's also not enough chords. I think there's 2 chords in this song. The chords could have been just as experimental as the overall track, but they didn't go there, and I think that would have really boosted it up there for me. But I still think it's quite special, and I'm looking forward to seeing this live, so well done France. Number 19 is Armenia, Rosalind with Snap, and a score of 7.5. So this has brilliant melodic work to take a theme and spin it out gradually towards the end until it becomes improv-like, so it really unravels, and it's really good songwriting to me. It's a great technique to use. It's got this kind of early 2010s indie folk vibe, which I like, kind of Ben Howard, but it's also got an American style to it too. So it's quite unexpected for Armenia, but I really like this, and I think this should hopefully qualify because it's a change up for them. And yeah, it's got a really nice melody line, and I'm quite impressed with it, so well done. Number 18 is Estonia. This is Stefan with Hope, score of 7.5 out of 10. This is vocal reliant and anthemic, which really helps the song to stand out amongst its competitors. It's got a really nice delay to finally get to that chorus right at the end. It's kind of like you're waiting for the chorus to come, and then when it comes, it hits you, and it's really good. The song is mildly powerful, but it's not too in your face, which can be good, but it also can lose you a little bit with that delay to the chorus. So overall, it's really nice. I like this, but I'm wondering how it's going to perform at Eurovision. I'm interested to see how this one does. Number 17, with a score of 7.6, is Ukraine, Kalish Orchestra with Stefania. Hypnotic beat in this. It provides a hip-hop undertone whilst peppered with Ukrainian traditional sounds such as the flute they use in there. Really nice. It's got a really catchy chorus as well. It really uses that song title Stefania to its benefit because it keeps saying it, so people will remember this entry, and it's also really accessible as well despite being in Ukrainian, so people who don't understand Ukrainian can still get behind this song. The underlying message of the song has to be my favourite part because it's so sweet and I love it. It's so adorable. So yeah, this is a good effort from them. Number 16 is Norway. This is Subwoofer with Give That Wolf a Banana, and I scored this also 7.6. It's just hilarious. That's the main selling point. I think, for instance, it's actually really well choreographed and put together, which makes me think that these people who are behind this, they really want to do well, and they want to make us think it's a joke, but it's actually not. Like they really want to do well, and that actually stipulates the musical ideas too. And there's actually a good variation in the backing track. So in the second verse we get this piano line in there, which is kind of mixed in mildly to kind of sound like a synth but also piano. It's really nice. It stops the song from becoming too repetitive, which really works, to be honest. Number 15 is Georgia, Circus Mercus with Lock Me In, score of 7.6. Totally underrated. This is amazing. The way they use those chords and rhythms in there, it provides a punchiness. The chords are really interesting. It takes the song into unpredictable but sonically nice directions, which works. They use the E major chord and the B major chord in there, even though they're trying to make us think it's in D major. So they're really playing with your mind when you listen to this if you're a musician. And they could have benefited from a coda at the end to tie everything together, because they did kind of do 2.5 minutes. You have a 3-minute time frame. Like, you could have added something else at the end to bring it into life a bit more, but still, amazing song. And I hope people aren't sleeping on this because I think this is quality. Number 14, with a score of 7.6 as well, is the Netherlands. This is Steen with De Diepte, which means the depths. And to me, the best bits of this song are the mellow and stripped back parts. So the ending with that kind of piano and guitar blend is so good. It just hypnotic. I could listen to it all day. I think it's perfect. But what lets this down slightly for me is the bits that are supposed to be loud in your face. It doesn't quite hit me enough, and I think it's because there isn't enough build behind it to create that momentum. They needed maybe some backing vocals, some strings to widen the texture, and then it could have had a bit more build and then been amazing. It probably would have shot up to my first place if they did that, to be honest, because there's so many elements of this which I love. The language, the melody lines, the way that the electric guitar and the chorus sounds, it all sounds so nice, but it could have gone a bit further. It could have been a bit more punchy, hit me in the face a bit more, but I still think this is quality. It's one of the Netherlands' best entries in a while. Really good stuff. Number 13 is Switzerland, Marius Bear with Boys Do Cry, score of 7.9. This is very charming, it's well written, it's a good piece of music, and particularly the instrumental is peppered with so many instruments. You've got clarinets, horns, trumpets, piano, strings. It's really lush, it's instrumentally really diverse, but it's also a little bit slow, but not in a way where it drags. It's just very kind of like laid back, It does lack in memorability though, which slightly lets it down. I probably couldn't sing it back to you, but I think this is a song that needs to be admired from a musical perspective and not necessarily a memorable perspective, if that makes sense. But I still think it's really good and I like the message of the song. So number 12 is Azerbaijan with a score of 7.9, Nadir Rustamali with Fade to Black. The vocal gymnastics of this are the standout. He just has this light and shade in his voice. It's raspy, but then it's really soft. It kind of teases a build in the first half of the song. You think it's building, but then it comes back in, kind of reins in, and then there's just a delicate piano. It's lovely. But then the actual build in the latter half with that kick drum coming in, and then his voice just gets higher and higher, and then the strings support the voice going up. It soars. It's incredible. It's just amazing. The juries will absolutely love this, I think. And just missing out on my top 10 at number 11 is Finland. This is the Rasmus with Jezebel and a score of 8 out of 10. So I think this is a well-rounded piece. It's got good energy throughout and it isn't too in your face considering it's a rock song, which means it's not that off-putting as well for a wider audience. The modulations use tritones, so it changes key by tritones. That shouldn't work, but it works because they do it so well. It's cleverly written, it teases the keys, it doesn't kind of properly modulate using cadences, so it's really clever. And yeah, I think the violin section in the bridge really adds a nice variety. It just sounds like powerful, it creates this tension, really nice stuff. Some of the lyrics are a little naff though, like that with the tiger noise in there. They need to take that out, otherwise this would have been in my top 10. That's the only thing that lets it down for me, but it can be overlooked. It's good. And now we've come to my top 10. So at number 10 is Sweden, Cornelia Jacobs with Hold Me Closer and a score of 8 out of 10. So for me, the instrumental portion of this is the standout. They nailed that blend of orchestral instruments with the violins, with the synths in the second verse. It's such a beautiful blend. The string writing's really clever as well. They're using kind of suspended notes in there to really kind of bring out this emotional quality of the song. However, the reason why this isn't higher is because the lyrics, to me, don't match up in quality to the backing track. The backing track is one of the best backing tracks of the year, but the lyrics, there's too much rhyming, there's not enough descriptors. It just feels like it doesn't quite match, but the lyrics are still good. Like, I'm not saying they're bad lyrics or anything. And the chorus melody, this is where there's a mismatch because it creates this downward movement in the chorus melody, but then the instrumental with the strings is trying to go up. So there's this like mismatch there because you've got different directions, and it feels like whoever wrote the instrumental and who wrote the melody and lyrics didn't consult with each other in that aspect. So that's why it just misses out on being a bit higher for me, but I still think it has this emotion. It's really awesome and it's one of my favourite Swedish entries in the past decade, so well done Sweden, welcome to my top 10. Number 9 is Albania, Ronella Hayati with Secret and a score of 8 out of 10. This has so much attitude and drama and the musical structure is really nice in this. It flows so well, it's unpredictable, it's unique. You just don't know where it's going, but it works. It doesn't sound weird. It sounds really good. There's a wonderful traditional sound in there paired with that dembal beat, catchy melodic lines in the chorus for those high notes as well. Those really work. And then in the low notes in the verse, it's more rhythmic and it's got this kind of variation to it and a bit more attitude, which I love. This is really good. I think if they nail the performance, I think this could finish in the top 10 and I really do hope it does, because I think Albania needs that confidence boost to keep trying at Eurovision and get their first win eventually. Number 8 is Spain with a score of 8 out of 10. It's Chanel with Slow Mo. So for me, this is kind of the song I wouldn't have put in my top 10 if I didn't see the live performance. The live performance with the dancing and singing really elevates this. It's quite a simple but catchy song. Musically, it sounds a bit like a demo. It needed a bit of work in the drum machine, especially because there's some tiny little errors where it's a bit off time, but I still think it's very impressive. I like the pre-chorus because it really builds up as well, and the language just sounds really nice. They've nailed it. It sounds very ethnic. It sounds very true to the Spanish roots, especially it's very true to the kind of Latin American sound, and Chanel is from Cuba, so I think it's nice that she's bringing that element of her culture to the contest. So this is really cool. Well done. Number 7 is Serbia, Constructor with Incorpora Sano, score of 8.1 out of 10. Wow, wow, wow. This one just blew me out of the water. When I read the lyrics, everything came together. The lyrics just kind of critiquing society, critiquing everything about the West. It just sounds so cool. Everything about it's kind of minimalist in terms of production and instruments they're using, and it's so hypnotic. Really simple melodic lines, unpredictable, but it comes together really nicely. And then that bit that is amazing. Anyone can sing that. It's really well put together, and I hope this does well at Eurovision, because I think it's one of those songs you've got to kind of study it first before you listen to it and really kind of embrace everything about it, but it's really good. Well done, Serbia. I'm so impressed with this one. Number 6 is Montenegro, which is interesting. I don't think they've ever been in my top 10 before. Vladana with Breathe and a score of 8.5 out of 10. To me, this one is just beautiful. The instrumentation, the tension in the vocal line, the way that the melody starts off low and then gradually pushes higher and higher in this organic and natural way, and then it explodes and her voice kind of unleashes this high notes. It sounds really good. The strings in there, the guitars, the 12/8 rhythm too, to create this waltz-like feel. It just sounds so good, and it's just a lovely Balkan ballad. I think the message behind it is so strong. It's really sad, but I like how she's bringing that to the contest too. Overall, this really blows me away. I just think it's really strong, and I hope people kind of give this a bit more attention, because I think it really deserves it. It's a really good track. Number 5, top 5, is, with a score of 8.7 out of 10, Slovenia, LPS with Disco. This is the best written song of the year. No doubt about it for me. The only thing that lets it down is the live performance of the vocalist. He needs a little bit more stage presence, then it would really come together and absolutely sound cracking and good. But the chords, the bass line, the guitar, the drum pattern, the horns are amazing. I've never seen young people be able to write chords like that. Trust me, as a musician, as someone who understands chords, the chords in this are insane. They are really good. This should not be slept on. This is quality. People need to pay more attention to this song. It's catchy, it's in the native language, and it's just the most musically advanced of the whole competition. Honestly, do not ignore this entry. Please guys, they deserve so much respect. They're 17 and they've written this song, which could be put up there with some of the best, modern jazz and disco songs in the charts. This is really good. So well done, Slovenia. I get emotional talking about it because they are so young yet so talented. Next, number 4 with a score of 8.8 is Poland. This is Ochman with River. When I first heard this, I got winner vibes, I got shivers. The way that it builds, that drop in the chorus with the drum machine provides variation. The lyrics are like, you could fit it in something this big, but you don't notice that because the song is so beautiful and it's sung so well with those kind of operatic backing vocals. The way that he kind of switches from a pop voice to an opera voice is good. The juries will love this. I like the meaning of this too. I think it's really strong, it's striking, really good stuff. Now, top 3. Number 3, with a score of 9.5 out of 10, is Portugal. Maro with Saudade Saudade. This is stunning. When I first heard this, I had shivers. I thought to myself, I need to study this artist, because the way it was performed, the guitar, oh my god, that guitar in the middle section is beautiful. It has this kind of bright melodic touch. The vocals, the harmonies are just stunning. I could go on for hours about this entry. It's so unique. Nothing sounds like this in the competition. It's very subtle yet very beautiful, and I'm so proud that this is at Eurovision this year because it is just so good. So well done, Portugal. I've been trying to work this out on the guitar myself and it is very difficult, but hopefully I can get there. Really good stuff. 2 countries left. So with a score also of 9.5 out of 10 is Greece. Amanda Tenfjord with Die Together. When I first heard this, I was almost in tears. The vocoder opening is so striking. It catches you off guard and it just absolutely takes your attention to it, and you don't think about anything else. You're just focusing on those vocals, and then they gradually bring in these more instruments in there, and you don't even notice, it just flows effortlessly until you get this explosion with drums, strings and piano and guitar, and then this vocal which just pierces through everything. It's one of my favourite Greek entries of all time. It's so good, and I heard a live performance of this earlier, which she had a male backing choir behind her. Just incredible. I nearly cried. Like, it was insane. I have never ever heard such a well-written piece before from Greece, as in to this level. I think this could win, to be honest. It's so good. If it has enough backing from the public, because the juries will love this, this will absolutely win. So that's what I think about Greece this year. But of course, you've guessed what my number one is. For the second year in a row, it's Italy with a score of 9.7 out of 10. This is Brividi by Mahmood and Blanco. This is the only song that actually made me cry in my first listen. That immediately tells me it needs to be at my top. The chords are amazing, the meaning, the performance, the harmonies in the chorus send shivers down my spine, which I think is what's intended when the song title is called Brividi. But yeah, I genuinely can't believe Italy could win for the second year in a row. It's so good. I'm just blown away. I think this just sounds so lush. The strings in that bridge part as well, where it's just Blanco singing. Just, yeah, I'm kind of lost for words. I don't know how to describe this further. It's just this insane. If you want to check my reaction out to this song, because I think I probably put words a bit better there. Really good stuff. Well done, Italy, again, for being my winner for the second year in a row. So those are my thoughts for this year's entries. Please stay tuned, because I'll be doing kind of predictions and other themes for Eurovision this year. But thank you for sticking with me to the end, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.